This past May, I had the honor of visiting Alas, Ayudando Latinos a Sonar in Half Moon Bay with our members, Karen Huberman and Laura Cohn. The first thing you notice when you visit Alas is the color. A popping yellow, big, beautiful murals, flags, each shade of the rainbow. It's a joy to enter. And then when you enter, each person greets you with warmth and compassion. Alice does dozens of different things for the citizens of the San Mateo coast, ranging from diaper distribution to immigration services to mental health services and care. Alice operates with the desire to help children and their families to feel proud of their identity and culture and amplify their voices. Alice continues to work tirelessly to pursue this vision in what has become a communal space of support, which honors the deep cultural strengths that thrive in our primarily Latino coastal community. Their cultural arts programs are the heart of Alice, with a belief that coming together to celebrate various identities are powerful tools for collective healing and engagement. Through participating in different programs ranging from folk dancing to mariachi, the youth and families become holders of the cultural wealth, and they become visible actors within their own community. Alice also is unparalleled in its work with area farm workers. The farm worker community is a fundamental piece of the San Mateo coast, even though sometimes when we drive on the one, we don't always see it. And Alice is one of the primary liaisons with area farm workers, keeping close and continuous contact with the farms to know their needs, and to the farm workers, more importantly, the people who pick our lettuce and our Brussels sprouts and our pumpkins just 10 miles from here. Alice collaborates with many organizations and different public institutions to bring services and to take care of those farm workers and their families. And many of you know, last winter was very tough on the San Mateo coast. Unprecedented flooding that destroyed roads and made access to farms difficult, if not impossible. And in January, a tragic mass shooting at 2 Half Moon Bay farms, which really shook this tight-knit community. The news stories said after that shooting what so many in Half Moon Bay already knew, that many farm workers lived in terrible conditions, including living in shipping containers, and many were paid below minimum wage, or below California's minimum wage, and weren't given access to fair labor standards. And Alice has been the leader in responding to these tragedies and being a positive and loving voice for all of the area's farm workers. Tonight, Sukkot is our holiday, which has a profound connection to farm workers and their labor. As a harvest festival, Sukkot celebrates the bountiful yield of the land and the hard work of those who toil in its fields to bring forth its fruits. The sukkah serves as a poignant reminder of the humble dwellings that farm workers often call home while laboring in those remote agricultural areas. This holiday reminds us of the importance of acknowledging and appreciating the contributions of those who work tirelessly to bring food from the farm to our tables, emphasizing the values of their dedication to sustaining their own communities, like they do at Alas and throughout the San Mateo coast, while nourishing the world. Sukkot underscores the interconnectedness of our lives and the significance of gratitude for agricultural laborers who make it all possible. And because of that, I am so thrilled, like truly, truly thrilled, that at Bazán we can make that connection this evening by welcoming Kique Bazán to our bima. Kique Bazán is a longtime advocate for justice with years of experience working with human rights and advocacy organizations. Originally from Lima, Peru, he earned a bachelor's degree in education from the Pontifical Catholic University in Lima, and then a master's in theology and religious studies, and a doctorate in organizational and leadership from the University of San Francisco. He currently teaches and works at the University of San Francisco. All the while, he's also the assistant director of Alice. It was a delight to meet him with Laura and Karen. And we look forward as a Beth Am community to a long partnership with Alice and hope to continue to build connections and relationships throughout the years ahead. Kique is joined here by Sandy, who also works at Alice, who's going to talk a little bit as well. Welcome to you. And as Kique comes forward, I just really wanted, and Rabbi Wattenmaker called them out so beautifully earlier when they lit our candles, but Karen Huber, Natalie Beavis, Lauren John, Ellen Taffin, Diane Rolfe, Jamie Beckett, and especially Laura Cohn for making everything to deal with this evening possible. So Kique, it's a delight to welcome you to Congregation, Kique and Sandy, it's a delight to welcome you both to Congregation Beth Am. So we'll have you forward now. So this is...
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name's Sandra. I also go by Sandy. I am local from Half Moon Bay, born and raised. And I'm grateful enough to be able to work at Alas, which, is a grassroots nonprofit out of Half Moon Bay. It actually started, this is our 10-year anniversary, but it started about 13, 14 years ago. And it's, I grew up with Alas, just starting with our director, Dr. Belinda, who came to Half Moon Bay and saw, a need for a safe place to gather, celebrate culture, gather resources. And I've just seen, so much has happened since then, right? And just grateful, to be part of such an amazing organization that, takes care of our community. Everybody's welcome, kids, adults, anybody that walks through our doors. Just like the rabbi mentioned that, it's just very welcoming. That's what we try to aim for. Everybody feel the colors, the music, the culture. And I want to invite all of you to, if you're ever in the area, to come and visit us, learn more about the work at Alas, several amazing programs, and I look forward to sharing more with all of you tonight. But that's just a little bit about myself, and I will pass it on to Kique.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for having us. I just want to thank, oh, sorry, can you hear me now? Perfect, thank you. I want to thank the musicians because it's amazing, the music that you guys, and the celebration that you guys have. I didn't understand a word of most of the, but there is a sensation, the drums, there is a heartbeat that comes with the music, that my heart and my emotions, my sensations were taken so many different ways, It calmed me down, it got me excited, it made me want to run and jump, sometimes I felt cuddled, So it was like a journey, like a movie, like a soap opera for us Latin Americans, But it's the music, it kind of brings the feeling of community. And in that sense, I really want to thank you for inviting us here, for allowing us to have a common heartbeat, to start this, because I feel that I was thinking, oh my God, I have my heart, like this, so sensitive. The sensations were so alive when this was happening. So I really want to thank the musicians, and I really appreciate everything you do to create this environment. Thank you. So at Alas, it's a small organization. So it's unfair to talk about titles because we all do everything, okay? So we help each other to move it forward. And as Sandy was saying, it's an organization that started really with music and dancing. And while kids were playing music and dancing, the parents were waiting for them, and the parents were telling the team who created Patty and Belinda, the problems that they were having in town. And because the heartbeat that also community creates, they started responding to the needs. Somebody had lost their job. It's like, what can we do to help this person? Somebody, the rain was too heavy. There was no crops. The farm workers didn't produce crops, and they didn't have any money. So how can we help? So there was a movement of 3 years just moving like this, helping each other, bringing people on board that wanted to help, and suddenly say, okay, let's create a nonprofit. And that's how the nonprofit started. The first people that were hired for the organization were people that were losing their jobs in the field, in the hotel industry, in different industries. So suddenly, when this organization is created, everybody feels in their guts when there is a tragedy. So it's an organization that responds to tragedy. That's why everybody does everything. We go where emergencies are, okay? And that's one thing about understanding the organization. It's like, well, but why are you doing this if you were doing this right now? Because people need it, because this is where the biggest need is. And in that sense, being also invited to a faith community is very important, because many times we jump into things without knowing what the result is going to be. And we need faith. And also, because we respond to emergencies, faith reminds us that we need to pause, that we need to stop. Time to rest, time to pray, time to plant seeds and imagine the future, time to water the seeds and nurture the field, and time to harvest. Faith is hope and allows us to see ahead and plan. Allows us to see that what was planted by our ancestors too. We sometimes don't recognize that we are in certain situations, we have some benefits, not because of us, but because of the people that came before us. And it also allows us to see that whatever we plant now, we might not see the fruits of what we plant. But we hope that it's going to be a better future for all. And the shooting also, faith was very important for us during the shooting. The faith that our deceased go to a better place and are protecting us now. That we can still build a better world for all. And that we can live in a world where we don't have to be afraid anymore for acts of violence or threats of violence. To work towards the construction of a more humane world for all, we pray to have the strength to be present when we are needed the most. We do recognize our limitations, but also that we need of each other to be stronger together. We are not wandering by ourselves anymore. We are creating paths together, we are planting fields together, and we are pausing to pray together. And in that, I want to ask Sandy to share how we are doing that.
Thank you, Kique. I would just like to start. I started with Alas in December of last year. Although I came up with the organization and seen its growth, but I officially came on board in December of last year, and it was a special time because it was, getting ready for the holidays. We went out to a few of the farms and did a farm worker caravan with a group out of San Jose, and we visited about 7 farms, which we do annually. And that was my first time, being part of Alas, to go and visit the farms. And many of them, you are not visible to the eye, right? You drive, either down 92 or on Highway 1. So, it was really special for me to go and visit. I grew up in Half Moon Bay, but, a lot of these farms are very hidden if you don't know what you're looking for, right, or where you're going. They're easy to miss. So I was grateful enough to bring, the holiday spirit to the hardworking farm workers, that, are out in the field, rain or shine, 365 days a week. A lot of them work 6-7 days a week. And, endure, again, the harsh climate, long hours. It's very physical labor, right? And we're just grateful to bring them, joy and for the holidays. And of course, little did we know, shortly after the flooding came, several of the farm workers were affected. They lost several of their belongings, as well as other community members and other essential workers as well. And, again, Allah's response to crisis, we had, Dr. Belinda, Dr. Kique, game plan, what we're going to do. Communications were down, even, within the city, the county. So we went out there. We went out to see, meet the folks affected and see what we could do, whether that was, removing debris from the streets, because the flooding was going to continue. Putting out a call for flashlights. The power was out. Service is already horrible on the coast side, so you can only imagine it was really hard to communicate as well. But we put out a call for supplies, and we're grateful enough, to get donations, and we were able to get those out to the folks in need. Food too, and we're big on food. We're big on culture. We're big on, those things. So we we brought those as well. And just the outpour of support from the community, from within the community and groups from outside as well. It was just, amazing to see and feel. And I think that's really what Alas is about, during difficult times, just coming together and also, celebrating as well. So the flooding happened, and then again, shortly after, we had the mass shooting at 2 of the farms on the coast side. And one of those farms was one of the farms that we visited during the farm worker caravan during my first month at Alas. And, it really shook our community, and nationwide as well, right? I think a lot of folks were just, not prepared for something like that. But again, we were out there. We went out to meet with the families and provide support. We have our free mental health clinic that had already been going out, our clinicians to offer services to the farm workers. So our mental health team went out to provide crisis support to the farms, and food, and just coordinating with the county, with the city, and other folks, and just being there in support, and in community with the farm workers, the families affected, and that's been ongoing for months. We've been working really closely with everyone that was affected. I actually visited one of the families, the daughter that lost both of her parents in the shooting. She lives in Southern California, and I was able to meet with her, and again, super grateful to have her and her family open her doors to us at Alas, and I got to meet her 2 beautiful children, herself and her husband, and just build that relationship. And it was one of the families, the Chinese families, and again, that was never a barrier, well, there was a language barrier, but that didn't, stop us from supporting the family, and I think that really transcends, through the love and care that we give, the families that we support. So I was able to meet with the family, and again, she just provide that space, I think, as well, was very important. and, as well as Pedro as well, who was the sole survivor of the shooting. We've been working with him directly, providing case management. And again, he suffered several wounds, and he's looking amazing. And I'm grateful. This week alone, I've seen him 3 times, and he just started accordion classes with Alas. He's doing really well. He's super excited, to be taking accordion classes. And again, our case manager has been amazing, working with him one-on-one, and just being there, supporting everybody through these difficult times. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, and again, happy to be here tonight, and grateful for your support and for your time, and for your interest in learning about Alas, the work that we do. And we again welcome you to come by or and learn more, see our spaces, and visit us. There's a lot to see, and a lot to do. So thank you.
It's as Sandy says, it's amazing seeing the farm workers, Latino farm workers with Chinese farm workers, Asian farm workers, because none of them speak English. They don't speak each other's language, and they still understand each other. I don't know how they do it. Our team will come with their phone and just say something in Spanish, and it will translate and say it if we wanted to communicate. But they kept it very short. Wednesday we had an event where both communities were together, and since after the shooting we moved them, the county moved them away, so they are not living together, so they were really excited of seeing each other. And I don't know what they were saying to each other, but they were laughing, they were hugging each other, they were showing pictures. And so it's the heartbeat, it's the melody that we create when we create community. There is a harmony of some sort that we communicate. And even tragedy sometimes when there is no the heartbeat, when we cannot find that. This young woman that Sandy visited hasn't told her grandfather that the son, right, died, that they have been killed. So the people in China still don't know that they have been killed. So when they ask her, she says they are okay, because she doesn't know how to tell this story. So this how we connect with each other, those links of connections in different ways. Sometimes even when you speak the same language, you don't know how to communicate. And when you don't, you communicate so well. Well, I'd like to thank Lauren, both Laurens, Karen, Jamie, and Rabbi Prosny for the invitation, for being present with us and recognizing that our local farm workers harvest the food that we bring to our tables. The members of this congregation touched our hearts by reaching out with care when we needed it, and we are very thankful for that. Thank you.